town with Rob Brown breaking it all down. Yeah. SEC, Sideline Sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brendan Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline Sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune.
Woo! Woo! Hey, boys! Hey, Brendan, how about them boys in the garage? I taught him everything he knows on the guitar. It's my move. Happy Friday, everybody. TGIF.
Damn right. I love it, man. Rob Brown in Memphis with the best executive producer and just one of the best guys I know, Brendan Martin down in Ocala, Florida. We got a great one today on the Friday College Roundtable. Ron Higgins, one of the best writers in the country. He loves your dad. I know that, Buddy Martin. I met Ron in Memphis. You know, he was up here forever with the Commercial Appeal, also a member of St. Louis Catholic Church, and just one of the best guys around and witty beyond belief, smart. His dad, the SID at LSU, an institution in Baton Rouge. Frank Duffy, Doug Dean, Brad Bellamy will join us from Landers Ford in the fourth quarter. We are going to cover a lot today. The decision by Judge Roberts in Alabama. We talked about that yesterday with Everett Hoagland from the federal attorney's office up in Chattanooga. This has opened up possibilities. When is LeBron James coming back? He never went to college. I'm just saying, keep it in mind. Look, do us a favor.
He's got eligibility.
Take a picture with your phone of the QR code. We're live. Brendan streams us live on 8 channels, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. That's almost an impossibility. And we do this every day of the week, 8 shows on this channel. Hey, nobody outworks us, and the only easy day was yesterday. And Ron Higgins, not only are you one of the best writers and wittiest people and a longtime parishioner, I know you went to St. Louis Catholic Church. I saw you at some men's club meeting, but I think you went to St. Francis or out in Cordova.
Right.
But glad to have you on here. You know, back when late night TV was funny on the Letterman show, you've got a lot of that in you. You're brilliant, and you also make us laugh about things that are happening in college sports now. You're down in Baton Rouge now writing. Got Frank Duffy, who is Mr. LSU Tiger, we call him, Doug Dean in Birmingham, and Brendan in Ocala. Thank you for sharing time with us, Ron. I am wound up. We had the decision yesterday from Judge Roberts in Alabama. I know him. I know his wife. I've met him. We had Everett Hoagland on from the federal attorney's office in Chattanooga to talk about what's going on with Mr. Badiuku coming back to play basketball. When is LeBron James going to want to come back? I mean, take it from here.
Shaq's got a year left.
Yeah,
hey,
right.
Let's bring him back.
Jabari Smith, come back to Auburn.
Hey, Jason Williams had plenty of years left in Florida. He got kicked off the team. Bring him back.
Come on.
He's still playing pickup hoops in Florida.
Charles Barkley back to Auburn.
Exactly. Bring them up to bring them all back. Plug them in for 15, 20 minutes. Let them get their 20 points and move on. I mean, really.
Yeah.
It seems like anything is possible now through litigation in college sports. Anything is possible. I can go do this. I can go do that. And all you got to do is sue the NCAA and they just shrink up and fold.
Yeah.
As soon as you get an attorney, it's like, oh, no, it's okay. We're good. We're good. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's turned to just litigation. And anytime you have litigation, you just go try to find a court ruling you like. Yeah. Let's get a friendly judge, okay? All right.
Ron, it's not just litigation. Great to have you on, Ron. You're a really talented writer and thinker about, and you've got a target-rich environment to express opinions right now. But It's not just the litigation, but now these coaches, because nature abhors a vacuum, and there is a legal and NCAA rules vacuum that is being exploited. But you can go to a county judge who has season tickets for your team and get a ruling. And I don't blame that judge. My God, he's not going to rule unfavorably. I guess he could. But the thing is, even my good, very smart Bama friends, they're not unhappy to have a big like that in this stretch of their schedule, but they usually add to that. But this doesn't feel right. It's not good for college athletics if we can blur the lines to that extent between professional and college.
You know what's bad? Even Calipari thinks it's awful.
Yeah, he thinks it's crazy.
It must be bad. Yeah. It's like there's no rules anymore, and it just. And I guess the basketball people looked at football and said, "Well, hell, they have no rules. Why not us? Let's find something we can do." It's my God. I mean, you got enough pros playing in college anyway. I mean, the guys are in pro. They're 1 year guys, and they're basically already. I mean, why you got to go get guys who moved on and maybe didn't make it and bring them back? I mean, they made that decision. That's their fault. They knew what they were doing.
And I have a humble proposal, and it's fraught with common sense. Pick a date. Maybe it's December 1 for basketball. Once you set your roster, that's your roster all the way through March Madness. This mid-season procuring talent, good grief. It's not good for coaching. I don't know if it's good for the locker room. Alabama will have to find who's going to go to the bench for Bediako to come in.
Yeah, well, I mean, LSU doesn't have that problem.
Yeah. Hell, I might be getting some time at forward before it's all over with.
Well, absolutely. Doesn't have that problem.
Hey, look, this is another Pandora's box, guys. We've got more Pandora's boxes in college sports than Amazon does. And this is just going to open up more of a what if. And we have nobody controlling anything. The NCAA is a feckless phantom of what it once was. And until someone steps in and says, this is the way that the playing field needs to be, because if not, hey, Paul McCartney sung about it in the 70s. Find a county judge that has a grudge, and you can get all of these legal things put through. It's a mess.
Yeah. Ron, and we move past. Judge Jim Roberts was voted Judge of the Year, top judge in the state of Alabama, and he is in Tuscaloosa. I've talked to him. Apparently what I found out was that decision, it's a computerized model, and they just throw it, hey, you need to make a ruling on this decision. He didn't seek it out, but it's insane is what it is.
Likely story, computerized selection.
What I'm curious about is this. How do you get voted Judge of the Year? Is it like a top 10 ranking?
It's by your peers. I think it's by your peers.
Others receiving votes?
Well, I know it's interesting, but I will say this: looking at this case, we don't know where it's going to stop. I want to switch to football real quick, and we'll come back to it. And also, Frank is the host, and I help him with it on this channel. A few minutes after this show on Fridays, it's called Gold to Go. This will be the 16th episode. Would you be kind enough to stay on with us? We'll give you a break and then come back on about 9:15, 9:20 today. We would absolutely be honored to have you talking on the LSU show.
I can probably do about 15 minutes of it. Now, you're going to laugh about this, but I've had a couple of hip surgeries. I got to go to rehab at 10. So I'll do 15 minutes. And any other way, I have a 10 o'clock appointment, but I'll do 15 minutes. Absolutely. I'm sure I will.
All right, we'd love to get you on in the future as often as you can, because, we appreciate more than you coming on with us. Let me ask you something. The TV ratings that came out, wow. Ellis Johnson and Pete Cordelli sent me the numbers. I woke up about 1 a.m. My phone was doing an update. I finally got it back. 32.3 million was the top number. It's the second highest ever for a CFP national championship game. It's the highest non-NFL game in 10 years, and the biggest thing outside of football since the Cubs they won in Game 7 in 2016. Ron, kind of expand on that. As crazy as this is it like the 6 o'clock news when everybody wants to tune in to see what happened in that 10-car pileup on I-240?
Well, yeah, it's the end of a playoffs, and the playoffs were actually pretty good this year. There were some tight games and stuff. I guess at the end of all this, I'm going to take a little vote here. There's this I guess, storyline out there that Indiana has revolutionized college football recruiting. I think it's BS. Y'all, what do y'all say?
BS.
I think it's BS. They haven't revolutionized it.
Expound on that, Ron.
It's like, oh, look, to win national championships, things have to happen perfectly, okay? I mean, I'll go back to, when Tennessee won it. Tennessee won it at a time where every other state around it had programs that were down. So they were able to pilfer people out of South Carolina, Georgia, LSU, and they got all this great talent because all these programs were down, and it worked out for them. And then eventually those programs got good coaches, and then they kind of cut off Tennessee's path to it. LSU, they had Joe Burrow. I mean, look, LSU even won a national championship with Ed Orgeron. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, and basically it gave him, leeway to get a big contract and go flex on the beach for the next 4 years.
Even Duff might agree that it was not arguably head coaching that won that 2019.
Best thing he did was make sure Joe Burrow got crawfish on a recruiting visit and got him.
Correct.
And he got the right guys to help with offensive coordinating. Joe Brady, who Ed Orgeron didn't even know was that good. Because I asked him, did you know Joe Brady? I didn't know he was that good. I swear to God, I didn't know he was that good.
Sean Payton had to tell him.
Yeah, And so,
Ron, don't you go after my 2010 Auburn Tigers now? Them's fighting words.
I mean, look,
it's all we got.
They got to the game and won it. Cam Newton got them there. They won on the field goal. And they didn't play great in the national championship, but they still won it. So that's a legit team. Things have to happen perfectly, and for Indiana, it happened perfectly. But I just love the national. There's climbing up the storyline like it's it revolutionized college sports. Bull crap! It's the teams with the most money who buy the most talent usually win. It's been that way forever, even when it was illegal. Okay. Yeah. Even when it was illegal, the teams who bought the most players usually won.
And Ron, it's the effect of recency. I mean, it's our short attention span society that we live in. Everything the most recent is the best, or it's going to revolutionize this or revolutionize that. Look, you got to give it to Indiana. What a great 2-year run! It's fantastic. And look, everyone loves an underdog, but I think when they are named as an underdog, it's truly not an underdog. If you're a Power 4 team, you have every opportunity to do what they did if you're willing to get off the porch and run with the big dogs. Yeah. If you're willing to spend in this environment, you will have a good team. And you're seeing that now. We're in an arms race. Hell, Ron, I don't have to tell you. I think we paid $40 million for our roster that we just completed 2 days ago, our 41 portal transfers. It is a different game.
Yeah, all these LSU fans, when they got Kiffin, they open their wallets up all of a sudden. Like, this guy can go buy some people, which he did. Yep. If you got the money, you got a chance. And if you got a coach who knows what he's doing with that talent, you got a really good chance. And that's basically what it is now. Before you didn't have any interlopers from the outside who could kind of stumble in like Indiana. Before you had the main players, and they all, it was honor among thieves. If you got out cheated by another school, you congratulated them and moved on. Like, great job. They outpaid us, or they damn it, they got us. Yeah. But now there's no rules.
Ron, I think I don't want to take you on mano a mano on a debate on what you're saying. It's overblown with Indiana. I think I would challenge to a very small degree, a nuance, that there are a few things that Indiana transformed that it's probably overblown. And, this just media exaggerates to get hype and ratings. That's not news. But what I do think Indiana, you're going to see it happen. You already are, is this myth. And myths operate in our minds. Half of them are true. Half of them we find out later we overreacted. But you're going to see the average age of portal signees go up a smidge. And it's because of the Indiana factor. And I think there's something to that, because you know, the schools that you were saying who out cheats who, that was the old model. I'm not going to name names because I'm in a glass house. Auburn, if you're in the SEC, you were cheating. It's a question of were you going 40 or 150 in a school zone?
Yeah,
correct.
And the degree of cheating should matter. And NCAA selectively protecting some teams should matter and be challenged. But here's my point. I think that the blue bloods, if you want to use that dying term, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, you can add 10 others if you want. They were recruiting out of magazine stuff. I see a 4 and 5 star. I think he's probably going to be good. If I sign enough of those, I can call the ones that don't work out. And oh, by the way, my fan base they're going to love me because I won the mythical recruiting national championship. And now the bust factor, the dead money that you would have to spend on getting a bunch of 5-star high school seniors to come in to make the fans happy, you can't afford to do that. So I think you will see a small to medium size shift to mature players. I don't care if they played at JMU or wherever. If they look like they're a real football player, you'll see even the Alabama and Georgias choosing to take an NIL chance on more of those guys than high school seniors that have all the hype.
Yeah. Ron, expand on that. Frank talked about Lane Kiffin. I think this roster this year when Georgia and Ole Miss played, 34% of Ole Miss was high school kids they'd recruited. Georgia was 91%. What do you see that number looking like? Frank thinks it could be 60-40 high school, 40 portal for Kiffin at LSU.
Could be 70-30, honestly. I mean,
wow.
Honestly, 70-30. He signed like 15 high school guys and 41 transfers so far. And he's still kind of out there. The whole staff was in New Orleans yesterday, kind of visiting everybody, kind of poking around. Yep. And they were kind of looking for like players who people overlooked. Like, is there anybody out there that would be like a gem out there people may have overlooked? So he's always looking for stuff. And yeah, I agree with all the players. I mean, you want guys who've been in college who've actually started games and kind of proved themselves rather than 5-star recruits. I totally get that. I mean, look at the starting quarterbacks from the SEC. A lot of them, most of them are transfers. Most of it. National title game. You had Mendoza and you had Carlson Beck, who was on the John Belushi Animal House playing 7 years in college. Yeah. You want older guys if you can get them, and if you can get them for 2 years, like they had Joe Burrow, it's even better. LSU signed a lot of guys like that. They signed the USC quarterback, who was a freshman, who of course Kiffin had recruited. And he's kind of lined up his quarterback room, with Levitt next year, and then who's on Longstreet, USC next. I mean, he's kind of gone around and see how he could. There's some proven guys, and then there's some guys who've been, say, sophomores who've shown promise and gotten playing time, and you kind of put it together that way. But I agree. I think everybody looks now like, let's go get a veteran guy. I mean, I don't care if he has 1 year or not. You'd preferably like 2, but if you get him 1 year, Mansur Delane, LSU this year, with, 1 year guy. All-American, first team All-American, unanimous. Great portal get. So if you can find guys like that, you get them. You don't worry about them being here 1 year. And it's the nature of college sports now. You got to figure out how to look. Basketball done this for years. Calipari was the first guy to do it. Just get guys in for 1 year. They were freshmen, but you have to figure out how to get chemistry in that 1 year. Kind of same thing with football now. You got to figure out how you get guys together, new guys, and plug them in and play them, and have some sort of chemistry. So that's the nature of the sport now. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you guys think? Sorry, Rob. Don't you think that as the how shall I say this? As the margin of error has really gotten minuscule, so that a coach, the GOAT, Nick Saban, who I would argue, and I don't want to take anything away from his game day coaching ability, his ability to develop teams, put schemes in at the right time and adjust that with opponents. But I think more than anything else, and I still give him massive credit for it. Saban used the Colin Powell war doctrine of overwhelming force. He could stack top 3 classes one after the other, and other programs have modeled that, but it's impossible to do that now. Once you sign a 5-star, what I can tell you is you just burn through a big chunk of your NIL war chest, and that player is going to be gone in a year if you don't get him on the field. And if you get him on the field and he's not ready, it's going to cost you some L's. So now I think coaching will matter way more. It always mattered, but the excellence in coaching, and we saw it from Cignetti. Say what you want about Indiana not transforming football, but that was execution and polish. And in that national championship game, Mendoza only had to throw the ball 16 completions. Carson Beck only 19. Both of those, they were trying to mitigate risk of throwing too much and having a game-saving play made by an opposing defense. So I'm kind of excited as a fan to see how coaching and schemes and in-game adjustments really matters, unlike the old days.
Ron, have you seen this book? We had John Talty on a few times talking about The Price, What It Takes to Win in College Football's Era of Chaos. Armin Katian and John Talty. It's a really good book. But Ron, you lived in Memphis a long time. I remember one night after a touchdown club, it was a touchdown club dinner at Folks Folly. A bunch of people got together, and I was there, and also was Roy Adams, Tin Stud, Bill Harper, Mr. Georgia Bulldog, and Logan was there. And I mean to tell you, after a couple of cocktails, I mean, I don't know what the statute of limitations are, Ron, but it was unbelievable. It was some of the wildest stuff I've ever heard. And Roy, he didn't care. He was like, one of those guys in the Gambino family or something. I mean, and you had people, you had boosters everywhere. Mr. Dunlap passed away last week, Big Bobby, Mr. Bobby down in Batesville. And I mean, that guy was incredible. His generosity. He loved Ole Miss. He loved Mississippi State. He loved the state of Mississippi. There's people like that everywhere. Frank has talked about it. Todd Graves, Raising Cain. Have you had a chance to sit down and write a story about him? And then Frank, after that, jump in. I didn't mean to, but I want to get your thoughts on that because, I don't like Yellowwood as much as I used to.
Well, I can tell you, Cane's just damn fine chicken fingers. They really do. They sound like cocaine. They really do.
Give us the recipe.
It's consistent product. They don't expand their menu. They do what they do really well. And the guy, is a billionaire, way over a billionaire.
Yes.
I think graduated from Georgia, but he's from Louisiana. The story. He had this concept. He had a professor in college tell him he was an idiot. You can't just sell chicken fingers and make money. Okay.
Fred Smith got a C+ on his thing at Yale.
Yeah. So Todd does everything he can to help LSU. I mean, he has athletes in all sports who obviously push his chicken fingers. A lot of them come when they win a championship, a national championship. A lot of them come and work the window one day. I don't think I ever saw Paul Skeens flip chicken fingers, but I'm sure he may have. I know his girlfriend probably did.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. But it's nice to have a one humongous booster. But the thing that puzzles me, and I've talked to Wally Hall about this with Arkansas and other guys.
Yeah.
Walmart doesn't help Arkansas.
No, they don't.
They're
Tyson does more.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Walton family has more money than most of America, and they don't help Arkansas. Yeah. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know why they don't help them. Besides put their name on their basketball court logo. You would think that place which probably needs help more than anywhere else because it's locale and you really it's tough to recruit in state in Arkansas, and you're surrounded by schools. Texas and Oklahoma, and A&M, who just plunder everything around you. You would think Arkansas would need some help, but everybody, look, you've got to have a few big sugar daddies, everybody to have a shot. You really do. And LSU, of course, has has Todd Graves. I mean, they're lucky to have him.
Well, the Walton family's philanthropic endeavors are really not in line with college football and our fans. They're way on the left-hand side of the political scale. Well, but here's the great thing about Graves is it's awesome when you've got a benefactor who started out a fan before they made all the money. That's a huge thing. Unlike an Uncle Larry Ellison who decided to buy our quarterback, Bryce Underwood, last year just because his girlfriend thought he was a good quarterback, who comes in that doesn't have an alignment. That's not sustainable. That's why I haven't heard that he has done any more for Michigan. But Todd Graves and his anywhere from 30 to 40 billion, depending on what you're talking, because he owns every one of those stores. But having a love, they will step up and do it. And frankly, a lot of the money that's come in from our getting rid of Kelly and this portal haul, I've heard is from actually other LSU sponsors, not so much Todd. So it is a movement. Once you get these sponsors going, it almost has a centrifugal force to where it builds more sponsors coming in. And I think the catalyst of losing Bryce Underwood got enough Tiger boosters off their wallet to say, you know what? If we lost out on the best college quarterback and we've had very little left in the quarterback room just because of money, great, we'll throw up money. It was like when Saban came and first said before he ever coached it down at LSU, he goes, you guys want to play with the big boys? Our facilities are horrible. You got to get crowbars in your wallets and come up with some money. That's what I think happened again. That's why we just did a $40 million portal spend.
I agree. Look, Todd Graves has enough money to office coleslaw sales to buy players.
Off my daughter alone 6 years in college.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree. LSU's AD Virgil Osbury told us at the Kiffin press conference when he introduced him that he told us that he was approached by people who never contributed before to start giving money. It helps to have a new cash flow. So yeah, I agree with you. I think most of the money came from new boosters or more money from the current boosters. I mean, and of course, it's nice to have Todd Graves to fill in the blanks.
Right.
You need the blanks filled in. So,
and Ron, that was just halftime of the Texas A&M game.
Yeah. Hey, Ron. Ron, I'm going to clarify one thing real quick on the Waltons at Arkansas. I'm actually going to a thing this coming Thursday, the Hot Springs Country Club. I hope Billy Bob Thornton's there because he's from Hot Springs. But I'm going there, and the most recent guy that ran the Razorback Foundation is going to be there. It's going to be a lot of Arkansas boosters. And I was up there last year in Fayetteville asking that question to a lot of the power brokers at Arkansas. They said the Waltons in the last two capital campaigns at Arkansas have written checks for $400 and then $500 million, but it's all academics. It's really strange. You're right. I mean, that's a lot of money, but the family for the most part are Missouri people. Bill Lurie, he's a Memphis basketball icon. He married one of the Waltons.
Yeah, Missouri contributor. Yeah.
So when they built the complex, over on Getwell, that Penny, the 50,000 square foot, a friend of mine built it. He was the engineer. So I got to go on a tour right before they opened. And he said, Brown, when they did the groundbreaking for this facility, nobody could come. I said, why? He said, because you had 4 of the 10 wealthiest people in America there at the shovel, ceremony for the picture. All those Waltons were there. Combined net worth is like $267 billion as of last week. So you're right. And so it's kind of weird why they don't give to academics, but I just wanted to throw that in there. They're generous, but man, they need help at Arkansas. And Silverfield can connect. He was tight with Fred Smith and working hard with them to get things going. Now he's going to have to do it at Arkansas. Frank, sorry to interrupt.
No. And I know the Tysons have spent money for Arkansas sports, but you're right. Where they are, I mean, literally, you would think with all that collection of wealth that Arkansas would have a bigger war chest. It's really shocking. And in the sense that like LSU is Louisiana, Arkansas is Arkansas. So you have that, you're not competing like you guys are with Alabama in the state of Alabama. So it should be an easy funnel to funnel that cash in. I am shocked that they don't.
A couple of things. I wonder if, but first of all, Ron, despite Rob's gushing and deservedly lengthy introduction of all of your accolades, I think he may have left out you were inducted to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, class of 24. Congratulations on that, Rob.
I appreciate it.
That's a big deal, especially when you live in the state of Louisiana. But the Waltons, we're talking about John Boy Walton, aren't we, Duff? No, seriously, I wonder if they have. First of all, you don't get to be what a mammoth, historically successful company like that without valuing ROI. And I think there might be a parallel with Indiana. I don't want to make my hog friends mad because I love that fan base, but show me the historic proof that there's a potential ROI worth a huge injection on an annual basis. And I can tell you, Rob knows this, even at Auburn, when we've got Jimmy Rain and others, we got a few billionaires. It's curious that that Tim at Apple has. He loves Auburn football, but I don't know that correlates with NIL gifts, which is his prerogative. But I think that I've seen our billionaires get restless if it looks like we can't figure ourselves out to run the football, to throw the football, and even be top 12 in the SEC. So they start to get restless, and I don't know that it's the best play anymore. And I wonder, wasn't Mark Cuban kind of late to the party, donating big at Indiana?
Yeah.
So he needed to get inspired. So I think Arkansas's best chance, and maybe it's the new coach, their best chance is to the vision of where they're headed and how they can elevate, change their baseline like Ole Miss just did. God knows Indiana did, of what is possible. Then you start to get a billionaire excited about getting on board.
Yeah, Ron, I like what Doug just said. Expand on that across the SEC. I mean, you look at every fan base has wealthy alumni, but how motivated are they is the question.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have some guys on board. You really do. Like Walker Jones did a great job at Ole Miss. He really did a great job. I mean, his business acumen from Under Armour, his ties to Ole Miss as a football player, and he really laid out a really great business plan for Ole Miss, and kind of, I mean, honestly, got him ahead of a lot of the SEC schools, including LSU. But you've got to find somebody like that, and plus you've got to find somebody who's got a lot of money. And a lot of these schools, look, it's hard to. I mean, different. You've heard different schools have different guys. I mean, the Bryan family, Mississippi State and Starkville. I mean, Tennessee had the the guy who owns the Cleveland Browns, the Haslam.
Haslam's, yeah.
Haslam.
Pilot gas stations.
Yeah, everybody's got somebody. It's just whether if you get that guy on board and he can help get other guys on board, and that's the key. I mean, LSU, when anybody sees Todd Graves on board, there's other people who get on board. When you have a lot of money and people see that you have a lot of money and you get on board, you think, okay, this guy must know something I don't. Let's get on the board with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ron, I'm going to ask you this because one of the topics we wanted to get into today is 3 years in a row, the Big Ten's won the national championship. We have a guy, I think it's Hoosier Ted, was commenting yesterday. He's found our show. Brendan says, you're doing well when you get the haters. He said, kind of ironic that the SEC starts to crater when everybody else can cheat. I'm like going, what? I mean, the dare thought of that. No, but I like
it's not unfair, is it, Rob?
No.
Yeah. So Ron, kind of carve out a path for the SEC. Remember in 2014 when Commissioner Slive said, look, this basketball product's got to improve because we got the SEC network coming on. You think there's a panic button going on in the SEC office in Birmingham right now? Kind of lay out the path for us, and then I'll bounce it around with our panel on here. I'm not panicking. Panic's a waste of time.
I don't think SEC panics one bit. I mean, they just you have years where you have some 2 or 3 really good teams. You have other years you have good teams. It goes in cycles, but as long as the money keeps coming in and all the schools sharing the revenue, they have plenty of money. And everybody's got a chance to be good in some sport, which I think is the key to the SEC. Everybody's got a chance to be good in something. And you look at the depth of championships in different sports. You know, I mean, there's a reason the SEC has a lot of teams ranked in the top 25 in football and baseball and women's basketball.
Yeah.
And go down the line. I mean, I think you know, I think for years Florida's had the best overall athletic program in the SEC. I mean, as far as all the sports, I look at it. I look at the conference. I mean, I know people have to look at football, but I look at the league. Honestly, this is just me. I look at it at all sports, and all sports have some sort of value. Just me, and I realize when people look at football, but I just do. That's why when Texas and Oklahoma came in, I was excited, man, because I knew the value they added in all different sports. And I don't think the SEC is panic whatsoever. I've never known the SEC to ever panic. You know, ever since Roy Kramer came in as commissioner, followed by Sly, followed by Sankey, each of them have carved their own path of what they could do, and I don't think they're worried at all. You know, I mean, like it happens. I mean, you know, it was bound to happen. The Big Ten finally won some championships after a long drought. But I don't think the SEC is really particularly panicked about it.
Okay. And if you're talking conference wide, you want to know how strong the SEC is? Go attend an SEC baseball game.
Yeah.
You will see the passion for this conference on what some people say is not a big sport. Go to Alex Box on a Sunday afternoon when Auburn's in town or Mississippi State's in town or Arkansas, and you will see how strong the SEC really is.
No, I agree.
Hey, let me pivot, guys, since we've got two fine LSU men on here, and Ron covers a broader, you know, span of topics. And by the way, Ron, if you get those knees rehabbed, hop on the Bengal one with Duffy and come to the loveliest village for Auburn LSU.
I know. I'm fired up.
That should be where I'm so glad we resumed that, even if it's just for a couple of years. But I want to get you guys, the LSU and Rob for that matter, opinion on, but partly because of Nick Saban, and it's well documented the venom that the average LSU fan felt about Saban. Or if you're going to come back to college, you should have gone to Baton Rouge. But Saban was the Darth Vader, and you achieve that aura, I suppose, by dominating opponents and winning more than your share of championships. And in their best years, I tended to think of LSU always talented. You're never without talent, which is the big indictment of Brian Kelly, how you couldn't do more with the talent you did have. But LSU to me was that we were all cheering. If you didn't yell Roll Tide, you were cheering for LSU because they had the wherewithal to take down Darth Vader. Now, flip the script, Duffy and Ron.
We are Darth Vader.
You get to be Darth Vader now. I don't know that that's fair, but I'm curious to see how. And by the way, I'm not cheering against Lane Kiffin. I want to see what he can do with the best talent he's had in a good while, arguably. But how do you think the fan base will? Because most Saturdays you play, the only people pulling for LSU as a rule will be LSU fans. Your thoughts, Ron?
LSU fans couldn't give a damn anybody else about that. They really can't. They're, you know, somebody when the LSU guy Kiffin, you heard this from I guess from Ole Miss fans or anybody else who Kiffin coach. You know, he'll be there 3-4 years. He'll be gone. LSU fans are like, okay. That's good.
So we'll hire another Darth Vader.
We got over losing the GOAT, the greatest of all time. We can handle this. I promise you.
And people said this. They said this about Kiffin. Y'all crazy for hiring him. And I tell people, Louisiana invented crazy. Okay.
Well said.
This state invented crazy. This state, you know, it's about to have a cold snap. They're panicking. You get a hurricane coming in. They're drinking. They're going to the stores and buying liquor, not bread. Okay, this state invented crazy, so they're on board with it. And go ahead.
Well, as a matter of fact, and Duff and I've talked about this. If you're not crazy, including your head coach, you don't win a championship. You usually have crazy correlating with the best seasons LSU has had.
We had Les Miles win national championships. He was as crazy as a bathhouse rat. No, look, we're embracing the villain. We were made for this. I'm telling you, I'm shocked us and Kiffin didn't find each other years ago. This was a match made in heaven. And I'm telling you, y'all, I've been on this show for 7 years telling you that I was in therapy over losing Nick Saban. It was hard. It was brutally hard. But the most proud I've ever been of LSU sports, and look, I miss Ron. Ron, you graduated from LSU, I think, in 79. I got there in 80. We almost overlap. The proudest I've ever been was actually winning 2 national championships after losing Saban and having to compete with Saban and being in a third game that, frankly, we should have played Oklahoma State and boat race them. The fact that we could have had 3 national championships after losing the greatest of all time, I am so proud of that. But no, make no mistake about it. Ole Miss, the collective Ole Miss fan base right now is going through something, and if they don't slow down and pace themselves, they're going to burn out like a roster booster. I have never felt venom like we've seen from Ole Miss in the last 2 months, and I get it. We get it more than anybody. But let me tell you, boys, 18 years is a long time. You got to get over this, because if not, you're not going to focus on what you've got, and you've got a damn good football program that y'all have built in the last 5, 6 years.
Yeah, Ron.
Even before Kiffin said why he left, I knew why he left. He left the same reason Nick left LSU. He had to find out. Nick had to find out if he can coach the NFL. He had to find. I mean, the itch was there. It was available. He had to find out, and he found out. Couldn't do it. Kiffin wanted to find out, could I coach at some place like LSU where there's pressure every single day? I mean, all this stuff's available to me, but I got to win. And that pressure, I'm sorry, that pressure's not there at Ole Miss. It's not like it is at LSU every single day. And I think he had to fight like, I'm 50 years old, man. I've coached a bunch of different places already. I've got to find out. I've got to find out if I can do this. And I think that's why he left. It was nothing against Ole Miss. He'd been there 6 years. It's not like he just packed. It wasn't a Tennessee deal where, he unpacked boxes, he moved on. He was there 6 years. He built it. And he had to find out. I got this offer. I've always wanted to coach at this level, at a place that's this passionate, where, I mean, even their little dweeb governor's on board.
Little Napoleon.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman on board. But I've got to find that out. And that's all there was. There wasn't any, and all the hate for Kiffin. I mean, look, I know he brings a lot of it himself. Okay, that's just the way he is. I get that. He's a lightning rod. But there was no other way for him to leave, okay? I mean, Ole Miss didn't want him to coach in the playoffs. He allowed his coaches to coach playoffs, and they can hate him forever. Look, Ole Miss probably hates Kiffin more than LSU fans hated Saban leaving, because Saban went to the Dolphins and then to Alabama. Nick told me like 2 or 3 years ago. He goes, and then like I just said, he goes, look, I probably made a mistake leaving LSU when I did, but I had to find out if I could coach the NFL. I just had to. Yeah. We elected him to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2020, and he just now took the induction this past summer because because he goes, I don't have time this summer. I'm recruiting.
Well, in 2028, in 2028, he will be back on the floor of Tiger Stadium with our 25th anniversary of the 2003, his first national championship team. But Ron, I'm going to say one quick thing before we go to Brad. You're going to think I'm crazy, but Lane Kiffin could look at LSU as if it was the way that Nick Saban, if he stayed, could have turned out. Do not be shocked if Lane Kiffin doesn't stay at LSU to see what Saban could have done had he stayed. That's a lot of the part of why he also came. It was on Saban's instruction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing. Saban got criticized by people because he's an ESPN analyst and he advised Kiffin what to do. It's like, that's against journalism ethics, folks. Nick Saban's not a journalist. Okay?
He's Nick Saban.
He's a former coach, being an analyst. And if one of the guys he worked for asked him an opinion, worked for him, asked me, he's going to give it to him as a coach and a friend, and he's not a journalist. So
he's just helping his proteges.
Yeah. Exactly. And Ron, before I go to Brad, just like your dad, sports information director, SID, those are the badasses. I mean, I was mentored by David Housel, Buddy Davidson at Auburn. You think about Langston Rogers at Ole Miss, your dad at LSU, Herb Vincent. Herb Vincent's one of the coolest people I know in the SEC office in Birmingham. I mean, every time I see him, I go up and I make sure and shake his hand and say, I want to tell you how much we appreciate what all you do behind the scenes. He's an LSU guy. He's just, man, I was so close to being an LSU fan. Dad was 3 weeks away from being a walk-on football player down there, and a spot in architecture opened at Auburn. I grew up listening, and I still listen to 870 WWL. I remember the Hap Glaudy King Edward Cigar Sports Show. I love it. Let's go to Brad Bellamy. Ron, remember the Landers Ford, Memphis.com, the great people.
Landers Ford. I bought stuff from there when I was there. Yeah.
There you go. Brad, listen, I was texting Kirby, my friend Dobbs, about that iconic location. That is so cool because I used to go with my parents as a kid to buy cars. They had a guy there named Spanish McGee who ran the place, I think, and the Great Hall would be there. I love Landers, the greatest corporate partner I've ever seen. Your name's on 6 stadiums, but what you do with Agape, with Le Bonheur, it's just tip of the spear. Tell people about what's going on there, and then we're going to talk with Ron Higgins. You remember reading him back when we had sports writers in the commercial appeal. God,
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's my childhood right there. So, Ron, glad to be on here with you this morning. And, you know, it's funny. I was making the joke yesterday, Rob, that, you know, 20 years ago feels like the 80s, and then you realize it was 2006. So, you know, it's all we all have that problem at this point. But man, it, you know, like I announced last week, you know, we're super excited about our new, you know, Ford commercial and retail footprint on Mount Moriah, taking over for one of the iconic locations for Ford Motor Company in the history of the brand. So we got a lot going on. Obviously, there's a ton of distraction here in Memphis in the South as everyone predicts their over under on how much snow, ice, you know, 1994 keeps getting brought up, you know.
Yeah.
Again, hard to believe that was 32 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me that how much time flies by, but how much we remember, you know, all the ice we had, just like Hurricane Elvis when that came through too. So, you know, right now we're focused today. We're not going to get snow. So we're selling cars. We're making deals happen and really excited about, you know, our current offers. That's everything we have right now. And we still got great deals on F-150 and 25 Explorer, and, you know, sold 2 Mach-E's this week. So EVs have continued to do well, even though they made the decision in Stanton that it's going to be a Tennessee truck plant. You know, we're still doing pretty good with electric vehicles, and it's a beautiful thing not having to go to the gas station. So, but great time to come in. We're here. We're going to be here all day. We'll be here tomorrow, and we're ready to take care of anybody in their sales or service needs. Great time today to bring your car in, because you might not be driving for a week, and we could hopefully get it worked on while the weather is what the weather is. So come check us out, LandersFordMemphis.com. And we're here to take care of you, Rob. Great to be on here with you guys this morning. Bold prediction. So today is what, January 23rd, 2026?
Yep.
I do not think that Lane Kiffin will be at LSU on January 23rd, 2030. I'm going to throw that out there now. I do not think that this is going to be
$1,000 bet.
That this is going to be the Nick Saban Alabama run. I struggle with Kiffin and his ability to be somewhere for a long term.
$1,000 bet, and I'll pay you at Hot Springs at the track.
Y'all both send it to me. I'll be the broker for this.
There we go.
Yeah,
We're a third party.
I think
I'll bet you $100 though. I will do that.
You got it.
$1,000 high. I'll bet you 100.
You got it. Oh, you're a big player.
There's no
man.
gambling at Bushwood. There is no gambling at Bushwood.
Judge
Everyone
Smells.
stop. This is illegal. This is not. This is for donuts. For donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Donuts. God, you guys are ridiculous.
I think the X factor. First of all, I have no idea. I got out of the business of predicting Lane Kiffin a while ago, but I think the X factor might be if he can hoist the national championship trophy. And I'm not talking about making it to the semis or making it to the big game, but actually winning it. Then I think that he will get a taste of blood in the fight, and he'll understand, not unlike Alabama, you got all the resources you could want at Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, a handful of programs. LSU's got that, putting it mildly, especially their fan base. Then Kiffin, if he wins early like that, as in by year 2, he might just say, hey, it's pretty fun down here, and I want to keep competing, because you go to the NFL, what would that be, his 4th or 5th firing if it doesn't work out in the NFL?
Ryan, expand on that, and I want to get back to, you talk about Ole Miss. I've been to 52 games at Ole Miss over the years. I'm an Auburn grad, you know that, but been to a lot of games there. The typical narrative, my Ole Miss friends were like, Bobby, you Auburn people, y'all are like the Spartans. You're just in Alabama. Y'all are cannibals. Y'all don't win by enough. You're ready to run the coach out of town. If we're happy with 7 or 8 wins, man, we're going to have a parade. Well, now that they've tasted the Final Four, I believe in that theory. Once your mind expands from its original size out to here, it's never going back to where it was. I think it's a totally new time in Oxford, and they're going to expect a lot out of Pete Golding from the get-go. Agree or disagree?
No, I agree with that. Yeah, they're going to expect a lot of him. He was certainly talking big during the playoffs, but we'll see, because when you have a whole new coaching staff, I mean, really, and some guy, he got Frank Wilson from LSU, a running backs coach who has great relationships in New Orleans. But you know what relationships now mean in college football recruiting? Zero.
That's right.
Give me the bag.
Yeah, that's right.
Give me the bag. I mean, that's all I want to know. Give me the bag. I'll say this about Kiffin staying at LSU. I always thought Saban would leave Alabama too, but he realized there were things there he liked there, like Doug said. You had in-state recruiting. Jackie Sherrill told me this one time. And I know people think Jackie just was the dark.
I love him. I love having him on the show. He's fantastic.
He said the things you have to have a winning football program is you have to have a great recruiting area. You have to have enough money for a budget, and you have to have everybody on board, the administration, the president, and then that's what Kiffin has. He's even got the little dweeb governor in his pocket. Everybody's on board with this, and I think he saw that. And I think, and if he keeps winning, there's more people going to get on that train. And then, and again, he's going to have to handle the pressure, because the pressure here is totally different than Ole Miss, and that's why he wanted. You asked for it, and now you got all this money, and you're buying all this talent, and you better damn sure win. And I think people understand that. I mean, I think
the anticipation for Kiffin is greater than what it was for Nick Saban.
Yeah, because they didn't know Nick Saban was.
Hands down.
Saban came in as a last-minute candidate. They had no idea who Nick Saban was. Had no idea. I mean, until and Saban saw the stats that Louisiana produced more NFL players per capita than anywhere else in the nation. And he called Jimmy Sexton and said, "Can you get me in on this job?" And Sexton said, "Sure." And he called Sean Toohey. And Sean Toohey, who knew Joe Dean from going to his basketball camps with me, and said, Nick Saban is interested. And then Joe passed it on. That's how that went. But he was like a last-minute guy. I mean, nobody knew. Nick came out of nowhere, and so there was a lot of trepidation about Nick. I'm honest with you.
Yeah. All right, let me go to Brad Bellamy, and I will say, you mentioned Joe Dean. A little string music from downtown Lexington, KY. Stefarino. I love it. Brad, jump in here with this conversation, because I mean, God, I miss Joe Dean and Converse sneakers. Brad.
So, my thing with Kiffin is this: the expectations are now higher than they've ever been. And he has had one season in his entire career of coaching where he exceeded expectations and he didn't finish the year. That's it. Last year, well, I guess 2 seasons ago now, since this Indiana championship season's over, but 2 years ago, everybody thought that was the year Ole Miss was going to break into the playoff, and they failed miserably. They had the schedule set up to do it. They lost to Kentucky. It didn't happen. This year, they had a very favorable schedule. They won the game they needed to win in Oklahoma, got them into the playoff, but then Kiffin bailed. Who knows if they would have beat Georgia if Kiffin would have been there. Kiffin would love to say he did. Who knows if what that outcome would have been in the Miami game. It still is baffling to me that he made the decision with all the coaching opportunities that will continue to come. He had to have had LSU as his number one destination spot, because without that, it makes no sense to me why he would have left and tried to. I mean, because that legacy of Ole Miss, he can't claim that if by leaving. So that's my thing with him. He is disappointed every team along the way, except for maybe Fort Atlantic. So, because he probably exceeded their expectations of what he could do there. But I mean, it's just, I think it's so much pressure. So much pressure. And go ahead.
The difference is, Brad, is that his nail in the coffin for that year that they were supposed to win it all happened with a Kyron Lacey catch in the corner of Tiger Stadium with 100,000 screaming Cajuns. He doesn't have that problem anymore. He's got that on his side now, and I think he saw that.
Yeah, but he lost. I mean, they were still in the hunt last year, and they lost but 2 years ago. They lost to Florida late, and they should have lost to them, and that really nailed it.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Kiffin. Maybe Ole Miss fans will eventually look at Kiffin like LSU fans look at Saban, that he took him basically from being a mediocre program, because LSU was in the toilet for 10 years, and Saban gave him a whole new outlook. I mean, direction. Maybe eventually Ole Miss fans will look at Kiffin like, you took us from being happy winning 7, 8 games to expecting to win championships. And maybe they'll eventually get to that. They may not anytime soon. Like, hey,
it'll take them 18 years, because that's how long it took me.
18 years. I get totally what you're saying, Brad. I totally get it. Yeah, but it took LSU fans a while to, and there's still some who don't like him, but LSU was in the toilet for 10 years. I mean, Curly Hallman, DiNardo was good for a while. I mean, there's a long string of coaches they're not very good. And I understand Ole Miss fans why they feel that way right now. And listen, I mean, LSU was on Kiffin's radar until they fired Kelly.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
The only data point I want to add, I love y'all's discussion and debate here.
2 minutes left.
Yeah, that'll be 15 seconds. The thing I would add is we're sitting here trying to forecast, can Lane Kiffin win a national championship? And it's fair to ask, since the SEC has been missing in action to lift the big trophy for 3 years now, it's fair to ask, is there any coach in the SEC right now that we would bet much that would we take an SEC coach or the field to win a national championship in the next 2 years? And you like Kirby Smart, you like DeBoer, you like Ole Miss, you like LSU with Kiffin, but it's gotten tougher, guys.
It has. Hey, look, guys, we've run out of time for this part, but we're going to be back on at 9:15, 10:15 Eastern with Gold to Go LSU. Frank Duffy, I'll be on, and Ron Higgins, you're going to come on with us. We'll pick this up, Ron. So we'll take a quick break. Let me close out by saying, Brad Bellamy, thank you so much, Landers, sponsoring this show. We appreciate it more than you know. Rumble Boxing, My Town Roofing, HempForPros.com, Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Let me say, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. We are the most blessed people in the greatest country in the history of the world. Journalism, folks. Read Ron Higgins. Ron, let them know how they can follow you. We'll say goodbye.
Well, I'm on ShreveportBossierJournal.com. I'm on there. I'm free. I'm on theronhiggins.org. I'm on there. You can find my brief, witty comments on Twitter at Ron Higg, and Instagram on SEC Ron. It's all the places you can find me. All this social media stuff has me dizzy.
Hey, guys, thank y'all so much. Awesome show today. We'll be back. Landers Forward. Get out there today. Get you a new F-150 with the 4x4. It's a truck. It'll get you anywhere. Take care.
That's right.
See you guys.
All right. Thank y'all.